The 2024 NFL draft is finally here, guys, and it's been a several month long process. And look, we're less than 6 hours till the draft is underway. I did this last year for the 2023 NFL draft, and we are absolutely doing it again. It is a pre-draft discussion Q&A. Any questions you guys have, we're going to answer all of them. And of course, we will be live later tonight for the NFL draft, which I mean, obviously, I think we're all excited for. So, like I said, guys, any questions you guys have, we're going to answer all of them. And there's been some pretty big risers. There's been some fallers. It's also smokescreen season. So I'm eager to hear some questions you guys have, even some takes you guys have. And one of my hot takes prior to the NFL draft starting is that J.C. Latham will be a Charger, whether that's at 5 overall, whether that's maybe they trade back. I don't know, but I do think J.C. Latham will ultimately be a Los Angeles Charger. All right, let's see here. Let's go. What do you think Atlanta? Let me go ahead and tweet this link out, by the way. All right, let's see here. What do you think Atlanta is going to do? I would be pretty surprised if they do not go, if they don't go pass rush. That's where I think they're going to go. And whether they trade out, I don't know what the scenario for them is. I think they will go pass rush. I mean, dream scenario would be for them to get Rome Odunze, or for them to, really just go all out in the Kirk Cousins era. But I think one way or another, I think they will go pass rush here. All right, let's see here. Bruce says, yes, sir. Let's see. What do you think the Chargers are most likely going to do? Like I said, I think J.C. Latham will end up being a Charger. Let me go ahead and tweet this out. 2024 NFL draft discussion. By the way, I hope you guys, this will be mentioned tonight because we will be live tonight during the NFL draft. I hope you guys like the new setup. We have, the frame pictures. We have, I don't know if you guys can see, we have the plaque. We have another frame picture of me and Shannon Sharp. We have the new lighting and everything. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me go ahead and tweet this link out here. I know I will get to all of the questions here. Q&A day of NFL draft edition. We have some super chats, which I very, very much appreciated from both Justin Ziegler and my guy Tristan. Let's go ahead and answer these here, boys. Let's go ahead and answer these. All right. And of course, if anything happens while we are on stream, you will see my initial reaction. Now, I don't think anything will happen, and I'm, of course, referring to, a team trading up into the top 5. But Justin asks, word just broke, Rams are trying to get into the top 10. If this is true, who are they aiming for, and what would it require? So, hold on here. Adam Schefter tweet. Nothing. Well, it's a sad tweet. It's nothing to do with, today. But, with the Rams, so I have mocked this before. I thought the Rams would be trying to get into the top 10, or maybe not the top 10, but definitely to move up to 11 or 12. I thought them trading up to at least 12 to Denver would make sense. But knowing how the Rams are, I really think they will try to go up to get a receiver or a receiving option. We all know how the 4 coaches that were in Washington, it was LaFleur, it was McVay, it was Shanahan, and Mike McDaniel, and they all, variations, they run, the outside zone, they run the West Coast variation, but Sean McVay has never really had a dominant tight end. So even if they trade up for a guy like Brock Bowers, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, what would it require? It depends how far they move. It's going to be at least their second round pick, which I want to say is 51. Let me see where the Rams are. But they have 52 rather. So they have 4 top 100 picks, 52, 83, and 99. It would be at least 19 and 52, depending how far they move up. We could very much be looking at a situation where it is another F them picks where we just want, another great another great player, so we could trade next year's first. But I think it would be for a pass catcher. Tristan asks, is pick 3 now off the table, or is it smokescreen from Patriots that they're going QB? Also, Giants seem serious about quarterback. So, at this point, obviously you guys know I am a Vikings fan. I think the Patriots are going to stick and pick. Now, there's been a lot of rumors about, they've had joke offers and everything like that. And we're going to discuss all of this tonight, by the way, because I'm going to go live around 7:45, but we're getting a lot of Q&As out now. That way, because there's a lot of time now. Once the picks are made, we're going to be discussing the picks and how that player will impact the franchise. So that's why we're getting all the questions out now, at least a lot of big questions. But there's a lot of discourse, especially on the internet, or a lot of, where the Patriots fans feel this way, Vikings fans feel this way. Patriots fans, of course, like mock Vikings fans, like, oh, well, they're only going to offer 11 and like a third round pick, or fourth round pick rather, to move up to 3 and just hope that we do them a favor. And that's not true at all. Now, the joke offer, I don't know what's been offered so far, but I will say that whenever Jaden Daniels is selected at number 2, they're going to be on the phone, and it's probably going to be 11, 23, a 1, and I wouldn't doubt a 2 in 2026. I think 3 is off the table, but I do think that the whole joke offer was a bit of a smokescreen from New England, or not a smokescreen, but a like, hey, up what you're offering, Minnesota. All right, let's see here. Justin, another super chat, appreciate it. Let's see here. MVR asks, can I DM you my mock draft? Let me just say to get this real quick. Can I DM you my mock draft and get your thoughts? Yes, absolutely. Now Justin asks, or he says, Howie has been making calls to trade up. What do they give up, and what player do they go get? My thoughts is he is aiming for Toledo corner Quinyon Mitchell. I would absolutely love Quinyon in Philly. I have said multiple times that I think Quinyon is, in terms of a player fit, player personality, play style, Quinyon going to Philadelphia is probably my favorite in the entire draft. But I honestly think, knowing how Howie is, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's trying to go get Talisa Fuaga, the offensive lineman from Oregon State. Now, Lane Johnson is getting up there in age. Obviously, we all know Jason Kelce retired this offseason. But Howie drafted Cam Jurgens a couple of years ago as a replacement to Jason Kelce. Now that Jason's retired, Jurgens will effectively, at least what my interpretation is, take over at center this year, but Fuaga could easily slide in a right guard and then in a couple of years kick out to right tackle. So I really think at this point, especially with how good of a run blocker and how much of it, a rear end kicker that Talisi is in the run game, that Howie is looking to trade at least one of those second round picks, because they still have the Saints second round pick from a trade they made prior to the 2022 draft, that he will go up and try and get Fuaga. But I think I think the top 2 guys on the Eagles board would be Fuaga and then Quinyon Mitchell, like you said. All right, let's go ahead in here. Milo says, hey man, love your stuff. Keep up the great work. You're killing it like always. Genuinely appreciate that. Alex says, great videos. MVR says, listen to your videos, podcast during the long car rides. I appreciate it. So guys, I want to go ahead and say something here. I will address this plenty tonight during the draft. Whether it's myself, whether it's ESPN, whether it's NFL Network, whether it's Pat McAfee or other content creators, you guys have a choice to watch the draft wherever you want. Other YouTubers that have similar followings to me, or other YouTubers that have way bigger followings than me. And if you watch it with me tonight, I cannot emphasize enough how appreciative I am of your guys' support. I mean, there's a reason that I end every video with love you guys, and it's just a small token of appreciation of just where we are and how far we came over the past few years. So I genuinely appreciate the support more than you guys know. And I'm going to reiterate that probably 5 or 6 times in a 3.5 hour stream tonight. But I wanted to get that out of the way because we will definitely be discussing that tonight here. All right, let's go ahead and go through some of these chats here, or some of the comments. Brock Bowers to the Bengals. I don't think so. I think the Bengals are going to go, I think they're going to go offensive line at this point. I mean, you have to protect the $250 million, or I think it was the $260 million man of Joe Burrow, whatever it is. It's north of $250 million. You have to protect him, and the same concept applies to the Jets. Although Aaron Rodgers didn't sign, that 5-year, $200 million contract with the Jets, you have to eat your vegetables before your dessert. I think that's the best concept that I've heard applied to a Brock Bowers selection, whether it's to the Jets or the Bengals. So as much as Brock Bowers to the Bengals would be fun, and as fun as it would be on Madden, I just don't think that's a reality. All right, let's see here. How early do you think Penix will get drafted? I think the ceiling for him is Minnesota at 11, to be completely honest. I think that's the highest he'll go. I don't think Penix is a top 10 quarterback in this class, especially with the reality that J.J. McCarthy is only 21 years old and has a very high ceiling. Not only that, but once the top 3 picks are made, there's not going to be, you don't have to, you know what I mean? Once the top 3 are made, it's going to kind of be all right, it's going to be a push for JJ, and then after that, it's going to be all right, now we have Michael and Bo. I do think one of Michael or Bo will slide out of the first round, but I think Vikings at 11, Raiders at 13 makes a lot of sense for Penix. I think those will be one of them. Daniel Martin says T. Higgins will be traded today. All right, what team is most likely to trade into the top 5 and for who? By the way, Sneaker Dude says camera and studio looking nice. Appreciate it. And he said, Sam asked most likely to trade into the top 5 and for who? I think it has to be either the Giants or the Vikings. I don't think the Titans would trade up for Joe Alt. I don't think they would want to. I mean, obviously they want Joe Alt, but I don't think they would trade, next year's one to move up 4 spots or whatever, because they would also be competing with teams that want a quarterback. So it's got to be the Giants and the Vikings. And not only that, in terms of those two trading up, but I just don't think the Broncos are going to have the means to trade up. Because here's the Broncos draft capital. They have 12. They don't have a second round pick because of the Sean Payton trade. They have 76, which, I mean, cool, the middle of the third round, but after that, they don't pick again to 121. So I don't think there's any chance Denver gets into the top 5, because I think they would be significantly outbid. So I think it's got to be the Giants and the Vikings. I also am a firm believer that the Cardinals are sticking and picking Marv. I don't think they're going to listen to trade offers. If in the rare scenario that JJ goes 3 to the Patriots, it would have to be from the Vikings 11, 23, and next year's 1 to move up to 4. And then that way they can say to the Chargers, hey, look, we'll give you 11 and 23 and still have the 1 next year. That way they could still draft Marv at 5. It would have to be that specifically for the Cardinals to trade. All right, Jay says, ready for the Chargers to F it up again. Dude, my hot take is that J.C. Latham is a Charger at 5. Ranger says T is not being traded. Atlanta should trade for Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins. I honestly don't know the cap situation for Atlanta directly off the top of my head and how that would impact everything. But I would love them bringing in T. Higgins, have a triplets of guys that are, north of 6'4" with Drake, T, and Kyle Pitts. That would be very fun. I would just honestly be surprised if T. Higgins goes to Atlanta, mainly because there's a lot of scenarios and a lot of times where I have, things build up in my head, and I had for a while that the Titans were going to trade for T. Higgins, and I would still love for that to happen, but I would honestly just be surprised if the Bengals, or if the Falcons traded for T. Higgins with Kirk on the roster. I mean, they just paid Chris Lindstrom last year. Jake Matthews is still getting paid quite a lot. I think Caleb McGarry agreed to a deal that wasn't too bad. He's not like he's getting paid 20 plus a year, but I would just be surprised if Atlanta traded for T. Higgins. Who do I think will fall tonight? Supposedly, A.D. Mitchell has been taken off of several teams' boards due to obviously the effort on tape at times was to be desired for. There's a lot more to be desired for on tape for A.D. Mitchell, but there's also a part, I want to check this because I don't want to speak on another guy's, I don't want to speak on another guy's medical without fully getting into it. So I want to go ahead and look this up here because it's something medical, and I don't want to, where is it here? If anybody knows, please comment it, because it's something to do with, it's just medical. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to keep going here, but it's something to do with medical. So I would see A.D. Mitchell. I could see him falling out of the first round. Drake May, please come to Minnesota. Agree. Any chances the Bears trade up for Marvin Harrison Jr.? I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I don't think they will. So kind of a two-thing answer there. I don't think they will. Wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I personally don't think they will. One of the more interesting football channels out there for sure. Like the breakdowns. Appreciate that, Bruce. Appreciate it. Let's see. What big-time receiver will get traded today? Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon Ayuk will be on the move tonight, personally. I think diabetes, is the correct thing. Yes, I think that is the correct regarding A.D. Mitchell. But again, I didn't want to just say for sure without knowing. All right, Legend says left-handed quarterbacks throw a ball that's harder to catch for receivers. Does that make them harder to pick? Wonder what the numbers show. That would have to be a video to just fully dive into. But honestly, I have heard that with the way the spiral just goes, that it does throw receivers off, especially after you've been catching passes for 10, 15, 20 years, that it can change things up here. AD to the Panthers at 33. I would like that. Bet the code is live. Appreciate that, Colts fans. Justin asks, where is Ayuk traded to? I think Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense. I know Steelers fans will get extremely, not defensive, but they'll just kind of be like, hey, like, look, we don't need Brandon Ayuk because we can draft a good receiver in the second round and develop him based on, really every receiver that's played for us in the past 15, 20 years, whether it was Santonio Holmes, Mike Wallace, of course, AB, Juju for a minute, Chase Claypool even for a minute, and now George Pickens. We can draft and develop, but I think Ayuk to the Steelers makes a lot of sense. All right, let's see here. Do you think a linebacker like Edgerrin Cooper could be taken in the first? I don't think he will be, personally. This dude is unbelievably handsome. That is, appreciate it. Why did Latham's stock go up so much? So, I don't know. I mean, Latham's stock has went up just because everybody knows that there's going to be like 5 or 6 tackles taken in the first round, and there's a pretty big drop off once you get to a certain point. So it's more of like everybody's just being kind of pushed up in the top 10 to 15. Well, not 10, but 15. Joe Alt, Olu, Talisi, Troy, JC, and Amarius. And then after that, is Graham Barton going to be an offensive tackle? I personally prefer him on the interior. I mean, he can play outside, but after that, then Jordan Morgan. I like Jordan Morgan a lot, but again, is he going to be, are you going to bank everything on him when you can trade, an extra 4th round pick to go up and get JC or Amarius? So I think it's everybody, not just JC Latham. But of course, JC Latham's stock going up makes sense because of the connection with the Chargers and because of the push for the Chargers to, want to run the ball more. All right, let's see here. Tristan, my guy, he says, if Patriots go quarterback, it would be Panthers situation all over again. They would only do that because of Fran pressure to sell tickets. The thing is, I don't entirely disagree with that. I don't know if the Patriots would be that bad this year. I think they would win more than 2 games because their defense is better than what the Panthers was last year. But I'm going to say this. If you are Drake May, or really any quarterback, I mean, even JJ, because JJ's name has been tossed in with the Patriots, if you were looking at the Patriots roster versus the Vikings, I mean, I think it's pretty clear which situation you'd rather go to. And that's not even me being biased as a Vikings fan. I know some people, like, as soon as you, like, even start to defend your team that, oh, you're incredibly biased, you can't take your fandom out of it. But, I mean, would you rather be throwing to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkins, or TJ Hawkinson, or Pop Douglas and everybody else, and Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyquan Thornton? Or, I mean, come on. Plus, the Vikings offensive line is better. Carson says, what does Carson say? He just sent a super chat. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Carson. If you have a comment or anything, let me know. But I didn't see a comment with that, but let me know, Carson. Justin asks, why would Ayuk go to Jacksonville? Seems like a good fit with Ridley gone. Is it because of the upcoming Trevor Lawrence payday? I mean, I could see Ayuk going there. I think it would be pretty much like, hey, here's pick 17, and it would just be very similar to the Defoe trade that the 49ers had with the Colts back in 2020. Like, we're just going to just a player and pick swap. There's no, 1 and a 5 or 1 and we send a 6 back or any other late round swaps or anything like that. It makes a tremendous amount of sense. Now, there's been inklings from the Jacksonville media recently that Trevor Lawrence and the Jags have started to work out a contract extension. And I don't know if you're Trevor's agent, how you can actually work that out in good confidence and say, we want $300 million. We want the next 5-year deal like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and Lamar all got last offseason. I don't know how you can say that with what Trevor's done on the field through the first 3 years of his career. So Ayuk going there makes a ton of sense, and I would absolutely love that. All right, let's see here. If Brock, and then Brock Bowser, I like that. I know what you're saying, obviously, but he says, if Brock Bauer doesn't go 10th, does the pick get traded, or the Jets would the Jets select someone else? I think I think the what the Jets should do is pretty clear. Best offensive tackle available. Now, you will, of course, get my live reaction later. I hope to see everyone that's in here now later, because it's going to be incredibly, incredibly fun tonight to do this live. This is my first round ever doing this. I did round 2 last year, but this will be my first round. But I think it should be offensive tackle. I mean, you have Tyron Smith and you have Morgan Moses. I was almost forgetting the name of the player they traded for from the Ravens. You have Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses as your 2 offensive tackles. Both are north of 33 years old. Tyron hasn't played a full season in, I want to say, 9 years. I want to say 2015 was the last time he played a full season. You have a 40-year-old quarterback already coming off of a torn Achilles injury last year. To me, the choice is obvious. Especially without a second-round pick, because that second-round pick is in the hands of the Packers due to the Aaron Rodgers trade. So to me, it's go get an offensive tackle. That's where I stand on that. All right, let's keep it going here. All right, slow pitch, go sit under a tree. I'm not really sure what that is in relation to. He's talking. Okay, there's a username slow pitch. He said he already answered that. I don't know what Carson asked. I didn't even see. Oh, Carson, here we go. Here's Carson's question. Appreciate it. He said, do you think the Bears could do what the Texans did last year and trade up and get Marvin Harrison? I don't think they will personally, just because they only have 4 picks in the draft. They have 1, 9, 75, and 122. Now, they do have the Panthers' second-round pick next year, which, just being honest, will probably be in the top 45, which would be in the top 13 or 14 picks in the second round next year. But in order to trade up, you would have to leapfrog the Cardinals. Now, as fun as that would be for the Bears to have Caleb, Marv, DJ, and Keenan for however long Keenan plays, we're talking for the Bears to move up, it would cost at least 9, at least 1 next year, at least the Panthers second, and maybe even their second next year. Maybe. Because the Bears would be competing with the Vikings and the Giants to get to New England. So I don't think they will trade up for them personally. Ayuk to the Colts, says David. There's been some steam picking up recently. Let's see here. There's been some steam with the Colts. I'm just checking to see if we have any Schefter bombs or any Rappaport bombs or anything like that moving up here. All right, let's see here. I do have, by the way, MVR, I do have your mock that I will get to when we're off here, but let's go ahead and keep on rolling here. All right, let's see. The Bears already have such limited capital. I would be surprised if they moved up. Of course, it would be fun. Do you think we see Trey Hendrickson move to a new team tonight? I don't think it would be tonight. I think it would be Friday night, because I don't think Trey is going to fetch a first-round pick. Why is there politics in the comment section? Yeah, I am gonna stay away from politics. I would generally consider myself apolitical, but I am there's just gonna be no questions answered regarding that. Is it JJ season, Vikings fans? It's hoping for Drake May. It is looking like that it's gonna be JJ. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if JJ falls to the Vikings at 11. And here's my thought process with that. I really think the first 4 picks, whether it's New England, New York, or Minnesota selecting at 3, I really think it's Caleb, Jaden, Drake, Marv, done. Set in ink. We just don't know the third team, right? Now, if the Chargers go offensive line like everyone thinks they are, because you can get a good receiver on day 2, whereas you can't get as good of an offensive lineman on day 2 as you can, whether it's Joe Alt or whether it's JC Latham, there's a real chance that the Giants are going to have Malik Neighbors staring them right in the face. Now, if you're the Giants, would you rather go with Malik Neighbors or J.J. McCarthy? I think the choice should be Malik Neighbors, considering where that roster is. The Giants' depth chart is very, very concerning to me at this point in time. So I think there's a real chance that the Vikings don't have to move out of 11 to draft J.J. McCarthy at this point. 6 quarterbacks in the top 10 I think can happen. I don't think it will, personally. Who's the second receiver off the board? I would be extremely surprised if it's not Malik Neighbors. All right. Let's see here. Let's keep it going here. All right, let's see. Thoughts on the Giants taking Marv at 3 if they possibly trade up? I'll just say this: they're not going to move up to 3 to draft Marvin Harrison. As much as I love Marvin Harrison, my guy Tristan with the chat, he says, "I hope Patriots trade down just because of how mad their fans would be. Their subreddit would be fun." Yeah, that would be hilarious. Like if just the general discourse that would take place. I mean, we're going from, we have Drake May for sure. He's going to develop behind Jacoby to who are we taking now? So it would also be fun. Is this the new camera? It is. It is. I hope you enjoy it. We've upgraded the studio recently. We have new lighting. We have frames. We have, look, we've spent a lot of time, energy, and resources recently in upgrading the studio. So I hope you guys enjoy. And there will be, moving forward, not every video is going to be a face cam of me talking the whole time, but there will be more face cam moving forward. All right, let's see here. It's totally a Pats move to trade down. I would agree, especially with where their roster is. I mean, you look at what the moves they've done over the past couple of drafts. I mean, if Christian Gonzalez did not fall directly into their laps, who knows what they would have done last year. That was a good pick, by the way. Credit where it's due. Credit New England. Left, right hand up. Credit where it's due. But 2022, let's take Cole Strange at 29, and let's take Tyquan Thornton in the top 50. I mean, what are we doing, man? Like, that would be equivalent to who has picked 27, 28, 29 tonight. I won't use Arizona as an example, but imagine Buffalo taking, like, Mason McCormick at 28, and then taking... Let me think here. Let me just pull up a receiver here, just in the mid 100s, like a Cornelius Johnson in the top 60 from Michigan. I mean, anyway. Let's see here. JJ has very good potential. How would you rank the day one corners? Perfect. Good question here. Good question. I'm going to actually read you directly from my top 150 big board. I tweeted this out last night. All right, let's go ahead here. Top 150 big board. I have Quinyon Mitchell, corner 1. I put Cooper DeJean as a DB. He's technically my second corner, but I have him more as a DB. Third corner, Terrion Arnold. And then fourth corner, there's a bit of a gap between Terrion and then Nate Wiggins at 4, Kool-Aid at 5. And then my sixth corner is Mike Sandra from Michigan. Seventh, Ennis Rakestraw Jr. Eighth corner, TJ Tampa. Ninth, I'm just reading off here, Andrew Phillips from Kentucky. And then my 10th corner is Max Melton from Rutgers. Now, if you're wondering where Kamari Lassiter is, he is at 12 behind Renardo Green from Florida State. I am not a big Kamari Lassiter guy, to be honest with you. What's up, brother? So glad you started the stream so early. I'm not, this is not the draft stream. Like, we're not starting this 7 hours or 6 hours early. This is just a Q&A before the draft. We will definitely be live, probably about 7:30 is when we'll start, 7:40, 7:30, 7:45, but this is not the ultimate draft stream, guys. We'd be live for like 11 hours, man. There's no chance I could do that. There's just no chance I could talk for that long. Let's see. Neighbors concerned Sauber with Jones throwing to him. I think that if they draft Malik Neighbors, I think there will be like a year buffer, because I mean, I just don't think Joe Shane and Brian Dable are that dumb to draft JJ McCarthy at 6, knowing he needs a development year with the lack of supporting cast they have, and just say, hey, JJ, go make it happen year 1. We're going to let Daniel Jones, fail this year, and then we're going to let you go out there and you can fail as well. I just don't see it, man. All right, let's see here. Super chat from Jason, appreciate it. I don't know what PLN is, but I appreciate it. Jason, $25 super chat, really appreciate it. He says, hold on here, I'm trying to get off this here. Okay, let's see. He says, wouldn't it be worth it for the Chargers to trade down instead of taking JC at 5? They could easily get good compensation and draft an elite tackle and receiver. In theory, yes. But as nice as that would be, there has to be 2 to tango. And I know that is the simplest cop-out answer, but I just don't know who's going to want to trade up for the Chargers if hold on here, the Vikings don't, if that makes sense. So if the Vikings trade up at 3, that's going to really screw the Chargers, I think, because maybe New England trades back up from 11 to 5. But best case scenario for the Chargers would be Drake going at 3, and then they can get 11 and 23 from the Vikings, and then they can draft JC at 11. To me, that would be the best case scenario for the Chargers. Everybody's saying it's going to be chaotic tonight. I can't wait to see how chaotic it's going to be. So I can't wait to see. All right, let's see here. All right. May is the second best quarterback in this class. If the Commanders and Pats pass on him, they're idiots. I would agree on the Commanders part. Patriots part, I would not, because they need a lot of help. And the Commanders have the number 2 pick, so it's a little different for the Commanders, whereas New England can, still, they can still like trade back up and they still have another extra first round pick. So I think it's a little different. Dylan, hey man, love the channel. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. And we will continue to keep up the great work. I'm glad that you guys think it's great. We will continue to keep up the great work. Let's see here. All right. How good are the running backs this year? They're not discussed a whole lot by the media, but I think it's a pretty solid class. I mean, I love Audric Estime from Notre Dame. He is my favorite, not number one, but favorite running back in this class. Trey Benson, love him too. I love those two. I also like Braylon Allen a lot. I'm kind of out on Isaac Garendo, but I think there's 7 or 8 solid backs in this class that can contribute at the NFL level. All right, let's see here. Let me ask, do Chiefs take a receiver or perhaps get a tackle? If they get a tackle, it's going to be like one of the last ones in the class, not in the class, but the top like 6 or 7, if you will. So I think Chiefs would be more likely to draft tackle in the first round. All right, let's see here. Thanks, no problem, MVR. Let's see here. Tristan, I think Pat's trade down. There might already be a deal in place with how excited KOC and Kwesi seem. Plus, Pat's comments about needing picks make sense. They just saw what happened with Mac Jones. See, that's the thing where it's like, okay, like everybody says they're sticking and picking, but how is this not a repeat scenario? Not directly of Justin Fields, of course, because that was a last gasp at a job where Elliott and Gerard are just starting out. But how is drafting Drake May in that situation not like, all right, like we got our quarterback, but like we have nothing else around him? So I'm with you, man. Like they need weapons. And I know this class is great, but unless the Pats have like something in place where they're going to trade 34 for T. Higgins, because I was really underwhelmed with the Patriots free agency. Like in terms of weapons they could have added, in terms of anything they could have done to improve their roster, I was really underwhelmed, especially with the fact that they are probably going to take a quarterback tonight, whether it's at 3, whether it's at 5, wherever. I was very underwhelmed with what the Patriots did to try and bring in that quarterback and have him in a situation where he can succeed from day one. I mean, I'm just going to take a sec. There's a couple super chats that I want to get to. Where was it here? There was one. Justin, appreciate it. Claw also says, I'll get to both of these. I promise. I do appreciate the super chat, but I just want to get to the Patriots' exact moves this offseason. We're of course going to look them up on Spot Track, but they were incredibly underwhelming for a team that should be, like contending, and I know the Commanders had like Austin Eckler and Tyler Biotish, and they brought in a bunch of guys that, are probably past their primes. And of course Eckler is, one of them, but give me a sec here. I will address the super chats real fast, and then I'll get back to the Patriots here. Is Penix Nix overhyped like Levis from last year? I gotta be honest, I don't think Levis was that overhyped because, he ended up going in the second round. I know the whole Levis thing, like, oh, he's going number 2 with the whole Reddit leak and everything, and then he ended up falling to the second round, but there's no, like, buzz around Penix or Nix like there was with Levis. Like, there's never been a time in this draft whole, in this process, whether it was January or even back as October, November, that, they're going top 2 or 3. There's never been a point with that. So I would say no to that question. And appreciate the super chat, by the way. Justin, again, I appreciate it. He says, Lions get an edge to help Hutch or get a cornerback for the secondary at 29. Also, when does the run on tier 2 and 3 begin? So, I hate to give you this answer, but it's really going to depend on how the board plays out, because there's a very real scenario that Kool-Aid McKinstry's there at 29, and I think that would be a very good Dan Campbell pick. I think Kool-Aid would be their CB2 from the get-go, and I think he'd be a good CB2 for several years. Now, if we get to 29 and Latu's falling due to medical, it depends what the Lions, what they found. Obviously, I can't sit here and tell you what the Lions found in Latu's medical history, but if Latu's there versus, Ennis Rakestraw being the best corner available, it would be Latu in that scenario. So I hope that answered, but that's, it's honestly just going to depend who's there. Let's see. Let's keep it going here. Oh, by the way, just to get back to the Patriots moves here, I wanted to go to this here. I wanted to, where is it here? Team to New England. Here were some of the Patriots moves to bring in to really help out with their next quarterback, whether that's Drake May, JJ McCarthy, whoever. Let's go ahead and go through all of these here. Mitchell Wilcox, Jalen Reagor, Nick Leverett, a guard. They brought him in from Tampa. Austin Hooper, he's been in the league forever. He's not exactly great. KJ Osborne, I'm telling you as a Vikings fan, he is a wide receiver 3 at best. Wish him the best, but he's not moving the needle for me. Antonio Gibson, Kendrick Bourne, and then of course they brought back Mike Nwenu. I mean, like, why? I guess, like, what was the point of all of those, like, those minor singles to, hey, now we're going to bring in a quarterback 3rd overall. Good luck, buddy. I'm just more frustrated with the Patriots offseason in terms of, I guess, what they didn't do than what they did do to help out a young quarterback, because they could trade for T. Higgins. I don't know if they would have traded for Stephon Diggs. I don't think they could have, but anyway. Drew says, Guy is coping hard. I'm not really sure what I'm coping hard about, but anyway, we'll keep it going here. Is Audric Estime a first-round pick? No. Jason, if Bowers does not appreciate the super chat, by the way, really, really much. He says, if Bowers does not get drafted in the top 10, would it make sense for the Bengals to draft him, especially with the T situation, would be an ideal fit? So, this goes back to, like, the dessert before your vegetables conversation. I would love, I mean, it would be so fun to sit here and project, you know, Joe Burrow to Brock Bowers. Brock will probably have 800 yards as a rookie, especially without Tyler Boyd there. But would they actually do that is the question. With Amarius Mims there, with J.C. Latham potentially there, with Troy Fatanu there. Are they going to do that? I don't know. Now, Bowers is a better prospect than all of those guys as a tight end than those guys are at tackle, but it would make a lot of sense. I just don't think they will, because I think it goes back to protecting your offensive line and protecting your investment with a guy that, this is not an exaggeration, you quite literally have $250 million invested in. As a Vikes fan, do you still believe they trade up? We'll get to that here. And I do appreciate the super chat, Peyton. I really do. So, if I had, like, you know, the ultimate, like, dramatic response, gun to my head, I would say no. I would say no, because I think there's a point where the Vikings will say, look, we like Drake May, but are we going to give up 3 1s and a 2? Or can we give up both 1s this year, still have our 1 next year, and still have, you know, the 2 in 26 and get JJ? Is there that big of a difference with the situation that we currently have for a quarterback to succeed in by an extra 1st and 2nd round pick? So I would say no at this point. Do the Seahawks trade back in the 1st or take quarterback? So Seattle does not have a lot of draft capital. They do not have their 2nd round pick because of the trade with the Giants for Leonard Williams. Now, just being honest, Caden, I hated that trade for Seattle because I was not a fan of a 9-year vet 2nd round pick. Hey, let's just bring him in for a... I just didn't like it. I didn't like the trade. I didn't like the value. So Seattle goes from 16 to 81 without a pick. I think they are more likely to trade back from 16, and in the best case for them, whether Detroit wants to move up, whether Buffalo wants to move up, get both their 1st and 2nd round pick. That way they can have an extra top 100 pick. And of course, Buffalo and Detroit are selecting in consecutive spots at 28 and 29. So I would be extremely surprised if Seattle trades back into the 1st. RBT, my guy, he says, what's he saying here? The Vikings trade up to 4 for Spencer Rattler. Spicy take. Don't think it'll happen. Anyway, appreciate the love, RBT, by the way. Really do. Lorenz, my man, he says, what's up? Keep up the great work. Love from Italy. Man, I do want to get to Italy at some point. That's a bucket list. That's really humbling that somebody's watching me talk about football on draft day from Italy, but that's awesome. Genuinely appreciate the support. Thoughts on the most unique draft prospect this year? Quantez Stiggers from the Toronto Argonauts. Yeah, so Quantez, he's one of the most unique. There's also a guy that Daniel Jeremiah made me aware of a couple days ago. It's a pass rusher from London, I want to say, or maybe an offensive lineman from London. It's definitely one of those two guys. There was no like college for Quantez because he's from the Argonauts, so he's definitely an interesting guy. He'll probably be taken on day 3, and he's gonna be. I think he's definitely going to be an interesting prospect. He's going to get a lot of buzz, especially in July and August from the national media. Like, hey, look at this guy from the CFL to the NFL. So him, or like I said, that guy from London whose name I'm blanking on right now, to be honest with you. What round for Frank Gore? 7th at best. Frank Gore is not I don't think Frank Gore Jr. is going to be like an NFL running back, man. I'm not a big Frank Gore Jr. fan. There's a lot of concerns there. If anybody wants to think that Frank Gore Jr. is going to be like his dad, they are in for a big reality check, unfortunately. All right, let's see here. So I would say 7th round for him. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it, RBT. Appreciate it. All right, watching from Portugal. Again, that is actually insane, man. I do truly appreciate the support. Underestimating your international impact. I mean, it's just, like, it's so wild to me, man, that I'm sitting here just, like, in my office just talking about the NFL draft and, like, we're watching international. But it is extremely humbling. But thoughts? Oh, by the way, to go on a completely different note, I do appreciate the support. But somebody says thoughts on root beer. People are, like, hit or miss, and I think people are also like hit or miss on Dr. Pepper, but I'm out on Dr. Pepper, but I am all in on root beer. Diet root beer, to me, one of the best sodas. I drink it actually like almost every day. You got to get the 2-liter sodas. Love Diet root beer, man. Absolutely love it. Cortrix, what do you think of Ricky Pearsall? Slick Rick, I like Slick Rick. I am a little lower than consensus. I mean, I like him, but I've seen people want to put, Ricky Pearsall in that 33 to 37 range, just like to force a receiver to the Chargers in the 2nd round. I think he'd be, like 47 to the Giants, maybe 48 to the Jags if the Jags don't go receiver in the 1st round, if the Giants don't go receiver in the 1st round. I think he's like a mid-2nd round pick, but I'm a little lower because I think some people will have him in the like the early 2nd round. So I'm a little lower, but I do like Slick Rick. Damn, Be My BFF said unsubbed. I wonder what that was about. I guess it was about probably the Dr. Pepper, because the Dr. Pepper fans. Oh, he deleted it. Anyway, or no, never mind. MVR did. But anyway, the Dr. Pepper fans, I will say, they are like they will attack you. They will if you say Dr. Pepper is not your thing, they will attack, man. But I'm a root beer guy over Dr. Pepper personally. All right, let's keep it going here. All right, root beer is trash, respectfully. All right, does Michael Penix fall to the 3rd round? Absolutely not. I think he gets drafted tonight, to be honest. To be completely honest, I think he will. I think Michael Penix is a Raider, whether that's at 13 or whether they trade back up. I think that Michael Penix is a Las Vegas Raider by the end of the night, man. That's probably one of my spiciest takes. All right, let's see here. Water better than everything. I agree. Do I have a final mock? You learn stuff every year with the NFL draft, and ultimately I did not make a final mock. I realize a bunch of people made mock drafts last night, and I saw everybody putting out their final mock, and I kind of thought to myself that I should have made a final mock, and I didn't make a final mock. Now I have my thoughts, and we'll again discuss that later. Like I said, I think the top 4 picks are set in stone. I think the Chargers will shock everyone and go J.C. Latham at 5. I think Neighbors goes at 6, Joe Alt at 7, at 8. I mean, I think Atlanta goes pass rush. I mean, I think they try and trade back with Denver, but I don't know, man. I would be kind of disappointed if the Rams go Dallas Turner over Rome Odunze. I just think Rome is a much better receiver than Dallas Turner as pass rusher, but those would be the top 8 picks, and we'll get into it later. I've saw people comment from Portugal, which is crazy. Not draft related, but how are you from Maryland and ended up a Vikings fan? I was like 6 years old. My old man grew up during like the heyday, and when I was 6 years old, I mistakenly made the decision to say, oh, Dad likes the Vikings. You know what? I'm going to like the Vikings, not knowing what I was setting myself up for. But yeah, that's how I became a fan. All right, let's see here. Why Latham overall? That's not my rankings, by the way. That is not my rankings. That is how I think the draft will go. Who is turning up tonight that gets undrafted? Wait. What is turning up? I got to be honest. I don't know it. I mean, turning up, I know what that meant back in like 2016. I mean, I'm guessing who is like going to play good that doesn't. I don't even know it. I'm just going to. Sir Enzo Fernandez. Like, can you comment again, please, sir? Let's see. Let's keep it going here. St. Newton watching from Nigeria. That's pretty cool, man. That is pretty cool. The Panthers, who do I think will pick at 33? I think it'll be receiver. If Adonai Mitchell falls out of the first round, I would love for them to take AD. I like Keon Coleman a lot. I know somebody commented earlier. Thoughts on Keon Coleman? I like Keon Coleman. I think his game will translate very well to the NFL. I think he is like an Anquan Bolden. That was my comp for Keon, and I like his game a lot, man. He's a big-bodied receiver. He's physical, big-time receiver, big play receiver. We saw the Clemson game. I like Keon a lot. Showing up to the draft in real life that won't go in first. Oh, I gotta be honest. I don't know actually the list. Let me look up the list. Somebody said like Will Levis last year. Okay, so like Will Levis last year that didn't go in the first round. Okay. A.D. Mitchell is of course is one because of the concerns with diabetes and then the attitude. I'm just a big A.D. Mitchell fan. Let me go down the list here. A.D. Mitchell would probably be if Jackson Powers Johnson somehow slips out of the first round, man. He is too high of a floor to not go in the first round. Ladd McConkey would be another one. And by the way, Ladd McConkey would also be another player that I like for the Panthers at 33. All right, good call, MVR. Good call, my guy. Take charge. Take charge. Zach Wilson equals Trey Lance. I mean, I don't know what that's in regards. Broncos don't need a quarterback. They have the best Wilson in the league. Anyway, Jason says, all right, let's see. Chargers draft McCarthy. Whoa. Chargers draft McCarthy. That's just not going to happen. I mean, that'd be ideal because if the Chargers wanted to trade, if the Chargers were down for 11 and 23 straight up for Herbert, they can't obviously because of financial reasons. But if they were, I'd be like, hey, let's go ahead. Sorry for that. Might have been a little too loud, but go ahead and do it, man. All right, let's go here. Let's keep it going here. Thoughts? Oh, here's an interesting one from Tristan. He says, thoughts on J.J. McCarthy saying he's a giant. I got to look into this a little more. I know you sent me that message, and I want to, like, really look into that. So give me a sec, Tristan, because I want to actually, like, look more into this before I actually say, like, hey, this is, you know, so Tristan said, or not Tristan sent me this. J.J. McCarthy was on Rich Eisen's, and he said, do you know where you're going? Any idea from Rich Eisen? JJ replied, I have somewhat of an idea. The Giants are the team I've spent the most time with. I don't think that's an interpretation of, like, oh, hey, I'm going there. I think that's who he spent the most time with. And I don't think JJ's stupid enough, especially playing under Jim Harbaugh for as long as he did, you know, for multiple years, to just openly say that in the media. So I don't think that's a for sure, like, he's going there personally. That's not my interpretation of that. Andrew, appreciate the super chat. He says, Chargers trade Herbert to Minnesota for 3 firsts and TJ Hawkinson. You win or out, then Chargers get JJ. 3 firsts plus TJ, I'm probably out on. Yeah, I'm out on that. 3 firsts plus TJ Hawkinson, I'm out. That's man. I mean, that's because that's 3 firsts and a Pro Bowl tight end. So it's like we'd get Justin, and then of course we'd have JJ and Jordan Addison, but then we just have to replace TJ. So I'd probably be out on the 3 firsts. Maybe I'm in the minority on that one, but I think I would be out on that. The TJ part is where I think I would hang up or not hang up, but I would be like, all right, like we gotta figure something else out. It is, and by the way, Andrew, I agree. You said just a fun hypothetical underneath. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Now, there was a question I wanted to, Nate says, hot take, someone reaches on Worthy in the first. I gotta be honest, I like Xavier Worthy as a prospect. I do not like Xavier Worthy as a first rounder. And obviously, whenever you have Josh Allen and you have the big arm quarterbacks, you know, I mean, Herbert is a big arm quarterback, but they're not going to take him at 5. But whenever you have the big arm quarterbacks in the late first round, even the Chiefs for that matter, I don't like the idea of Xavier Worthy going to one of those teams, especially Buffalo, by the way, because I want to pull up something here that absolutely scares me for Xavier Worthy's future, and I will get to Boltman here in a second. So let me go ahead and bring something up that I don't think a lot of people are at least mentioning that much, at least regarding Xavier as a first-round pick. But Xavier Worthy, here we go. Xavier Worthy's hand size is 8 3/4, which is in the 9th percentile. Now, I know hand size is, you know, it was brought up and beat to death when Kenny Pickett was a prospect, but hand size in the cold in Buffalo outside in December for a first-round pick, I mean, we talk about setting guys up for success, whether it's, you know, Bryce Young not getting set up for success last year in Carolina. That would just be a disaster if Xavier Worthy was like not. It wouldn't be a disaster because he would still produce, but I wouldn't want Xavier Worthy in Buffalo at pick 28. Now you take him in the second round, that's something else. But 28, I wouldn't want it. Disaster was not the right word, but I wouldn't want that. Do I think the Broncos, Boltman, appreciate the super chat. Do I think the Broncos take Peyton Wilson since they apparently love Wilsons? I wouldn't hate the fit. I don't think he's going to be available for them, unfortunately, though, just because the Broncos they go from, where is it here? They go from pick 12 to 76. I would be pretty surprised if Peyton's not taken at somewhere between 12 and 76. Obviously closer to 76 than 12. I think he'll be in that 50 to 70 range, but it would be, I mean, I like the fit. I think Peyton Wilson is a pretty solid linebacker, but I don't think he will go to Denver. Yo, LFG Vikings skull, absolutely. Skull indeed, my guy. Let's take a look here, see if there's any other just NFL things happening here. Let's take a look here. All right. Nothing going crazy. All right. I love the comments like these. I will never get tired of reading this. If Al Davis was still alive, the Raiders would use a first rounder. Those comments will never. I love them. Let's see here. Let's see. If the Vikings keep 23, would you take Nate Wiggins or Leonard Taylor? I would not take. There's absolutely zero chance I would take Leonard Taylor in the first round. Leonard Taylor to me is a day 3 prospect. He had a bad final year at Miami. I mean, there were times on tape where Leonard Taylor had flashes like Johnny Newton, had flashes like Byron Murphy, but there was just 75-80% of the other time he was just out of position, not playing good. I'm not a big Leonard Taylor guy, especially on day 1 or 2. Day 3, you want to take a stab, you want to take a little shot at a sleeper, go for it. But I'm not a Leonard Taylor fan in terms of that. Who do I think the Colts select? I think it's going to end up being either Quinyon Mitchell or Brock Bowers. I love the idea of the Colts going, offensive weapon to help out their young quarterback as much as they can. I love that idea. But I think Quinyon, especially in that division, will be a little, like, he's going to be too good of a player to pass up, especially at a premium position. But, guys, I'm still confident the Vikings trade to 3. I am not confident. No, I am not confident. No, sir. By the way, guys, I want to say that this is going to wrap up right now stream. We will be live around 7:30, 7:40. And like I said, I will reiterate this countless times tonight. If you choose to watch the draft with me, I want to say I genuinely appreciate it because there are countless other options that you can watch the draft, whether it's with other YouTube creators, whether it's the actual draft itself on NFL Network or ESPN. But that will wrap up right now's Q&A. I hope you enjoyed. I am very, very much looking forward to tonight. This is my first ever stream, first ever draft that I'm doing live. Can't wait, and I will keep you guys going. And I'll catch you guys later. Got the shirt on, so we'll be live